Hello, welcome to the Art Project. Glad you chose to click on my video. This is going to be a video about AP Art and Design, and in particular about a mind map. So if you are interested, please keep watching. If it helps you out in any way, please give it a thumbs up. So we're going to be doing a little brainstorming. What we want to brainstorm on is the how, what, why, who, and my favorite question, the what if. Now, these are sort of the main questions. There are other questions, obviously, you can ask. These are the ones that I was working on. And my subject matter, my decided sustained investigation is going to be portraits and processes. Honestly, I don't really even care what my subject matter is for the most part. I just like making art. And so I'm really more interested in processes than anything. Some of the things that interest me lately have been monoprinting, charcoal, ink. I'm also real interested in alternative surfaces and mixed media. And then I kind of drew a blank. And nothing ever really eventually came to me, so I just put it away. Now, one of the great things about brainstorming a mind map in this way is that I can make all of the mess that I want. I can move words around using these post-it notes, and I can kind of work on the fly, and I can manipulate my questions and my topics and all of that any way I want to. So as you can see here, I have moved some things around, and then I got specific about whether I wanted to ask, who for my portraits, or what kind of alternative surfaces, and so on. I then started trying to come up with subtopics. I was really surprised at how much this method actually made me think. So I kind of thought that I already had ideas for all of it. But as I was putting things down, I realized that I needed to be more specific. And every time I got a little bit more specific, I had to think about it. And thinking about it, well, had me coming up with new specifics. And so when I thought about what kind of alternative surfaces, I had to think about it. And when I was thinking about it, my mind actually engaged in this mind map. I came up with extra things that I hadn't thought of before. I've been doing portraits for a while now, and I hadn't really thought about who all I could actually do portraits of. And so as I was trying to arrange this mind map, it was causing me to think harder about these things and to come up with good information. Now, one of the things, and this is, I think, really, really key to this, is if I can't come up with 15 or 20 different ideas right here during the mind map, I don't think I'm going to be very good at coming up with 15 to 20 ideas one at a time. Yeah, sure, things are going to come to me. Things are going to happen, I believe, as I'm working. But I also think that the mind is pretty flexible and pretty good, and if I actually put my mind to the thought process, then I can come up with several ideas right here off the bat. And so I thought that was really good for this. Anyway, I also didn't want to lose all this information, so I decided to glue it into my sketchbook, which I think is mandatory. This is really kind of sketchbook work, even though I didn't start in the sketchbook. And so as I was gluing it into the sketchbook, I pared it down a little bit. I had a couple of things written 2 or 3 times, and I also had it really large on these big post-it notes, so I cut everything down so it would fit in my sketchbook better. This was kind of time consuming, and it looked different once it was in my sketchbook than it did when it was out. By the way, you do not have to use post-it notes for this. If you want to just use regular paper and cut it into strips, or make little squares of it. Or if you want to work directly in your sketchbook, and if you decide you want to move something around and you've already written it down in your sketchbook, well, you can white it out or put some white paint over it and rewrite it somewhere else. Or you can write it on another piece of paper and glue it over something else that you've already written. It's totally flexible either way. I just found it a little bit easier to do it on Post-it notes on my table before I did it anywhere else. But you can go straight for your sketchbook, and you can write directly in your sketchbook, and you can correct it, especially if you were to do it in pencil. That'd be good too. So think outside the box as you're doing this. Do it in such a way that it makes sense to you, and don't limit yourself to just words and paper. I also, towards the end of this, started kind of putting examples of what I was thinking in the book. For example, I got out some ink, and I made a couple of little swipes of ink. I had some brown ink and some black ink, and I made just a couple of swipes of that just to remind me that I was that I had other colors of ink that I could use. I also had some metallic ink, and I didn't want to forget later on what kind of metallic ink I was thinking about, so I had the metallic ink handy and I used it. It's really a metallic paint pen, which I'm not sure is quite the same thing, but for my purposes, it was fine. I also put a little charcoal in my book, and I had this idea for a charcoal monoprint. So I wouldn't forget that. I made a small charcoal monoprint. The stuff you see me using right now is washi tape. It comes in all different shapes and well, not shapes. It comes in all different thicknesses and patterns, and I just happen to have some metallic washi tape. You can find this at Hobby Lobby or Michael's, or you can order it online. But I started connecting ideas all the way across the paper, and just whatever it takes to connect your ideas and to put some ideas down. I also wanted to put a couple of examples of who I could do the portraits of. And so here in a few minutes you'll see me take some pictures that I did, that I printed out of my wife and children, and I taped them in. And of course I ran out of space. But the great thing about the sketchbook, and the great thing about being flexible in the way that you do this, it means that I was able to make more of a fold out. So I actually printed these three pictures out of my family, and then I taped them together in such a way that they flip out of the book, which was kind of fun. Everything is glued in with stick glue or packaging tape, and as you saw just a second ago, I put down some examples of found paper, like the kind of paper you would find in an envelope. I like the inside of the envelopes a lot, and maps, and like the outside covers of notebooks. You have an old notebook that you use, the outside of it was maybe glossy and green, or maybe it has some kind of a pattern on it. So just some found papers that could be used. I do like to keep things kind of neat, while at the same time being as flexible as I can be without worrying about being messy. So if you look at this, you'll see, you can kind of see that. And well, that pretty much sums it up. Here's me metallic pen. My gold didn't work quite as well, but anyway, it was a fun process. I learned a lot from it, and now I am ready to investigate my SI. This is my monoprint charcoal. So I hope you like it. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful at all, please give me a thumbs up. That helps me alert YouTube, or that helps to alert YouTube that my video is worth watching. So the more likes I get, the better. And if you're new here, please subscribe and tap that bell so you get notifications of future videos. So feel free to rewind the video and pause it anywhere you want to see something closer or how I did it. And that's it. Now it's your turn to go make a mind map. Thanks, guys.